Terence and you, yeah.
We are already live on YouTube.
Okay.
We are starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. A very good afternoon to everybody.
Terence and you, yeah.
We are already live on YouTube.
Okay.
We are starting in 3, 2, 1. A very good afternoon to everybody. We are already hit about 150 people in the webinar. We will wait. We had a record-breaking over 500 registrations. Thank you everyone for your confidence and faith in BCBA's training initiatives. We will take a few minutes before we start the session. I hope everybody has had a very good weekend. Times have been very challenging, and we have a real good lineup of speakers today to make sure that they don't remain challenging. We are over 200. We will wait for another 2 or 3 minutes to start. Just for the benefit for everybody here, we request you to please, if your friends or colleagues are not able to join and want to participate in the session, we are also live on YouTube. We will be sharing, we will be broadcasting the link to the same shortly. We are 250 plus. We are already almost there. So just for everyone's benefit, in case the the Zoom is full and your friends or colleagues are unable to join, in the chat box we are going to share the YouTube link. You can share this with your friends and colleagues so they can join. And yes, of course, this video will be available for you at a later time. Would you require to address it as well? So we are about 270 or so. We will wait for another 2 minutes before we start. With your permission, Dushyant bhai.
Hello.
Very good afternoon to all the delegates. We will start in about 60 seconds.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Paresh bhai.
Good afternoon, all.
So we'll start in about 30 seconds. We are about 300 participants. Okay, so welcome everybody. It's been a pleasure seeing you after a long time. We have a real good audience here. Thanks for signing in and being a part of the BCBA training initiative. Just before we start, I would like to take the opportunity to share one very important aspect of BCBA training. We are all indeed custom brokers, and we all participate in custom broking activities. BCBA has, as everybody knows, the Rule 6 exam is about 5 months away. It's going to be held in March of 2023. The BCBA Training Committee has held a workshop how to fill an application, and all of those, all of you would have taken advantage to fill in that application form and submit it. We are going to be starting our training program early next month. So in the next week or so, we'll be starting our training program. So we would like you to take an opportunity to register for the same. You could contact the secretariat and we would be in a position to register you for the same. So thanks for that. To everyone in the webinar, we'll have some rules. If you have any questions, we would request you to raise the question in the Q&A session, in the Q&A section of the app. If you would like to chat, the chat box is enabled. However, keep it limited to what you're requesting. If your question is in the chat box, it may not be addressed. So please remember to raise your questions over there. If you would like to speak or if you would like to send a message, please send a message to Dr. Thakkar. He is managing the webinar, and we will come back to you on any messages that are there. With this, we've gone through the instructions. We'll start with the round of introduction. So welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure seeing you. I would like to thank our BCBA leadership led by Shri Dushan Mulani ji, who is our president, followed by Sanjeev Harale sir, who is our senior vice president and also the office bearer in charge of training. We have with us Shri Paresh Thakkar, who is a vice president, Shri Ketan Desai, our honorary joint secretary, Dr. Nirav Thakkar, our secretary of BCBA, and we have Kodeji, who is the treasurer of BCBA, and Chaitali and I, who are in charge of the training committee. With us, we have a very eminent line of speakers, Ramaji and Ravindraji. They will, of course, be introduced to you in detail just prior to the session. Without any further ado, we are all here for what matters in terms of legal compliance. So I will hand it over to our president, Shri Dushan Mulani ji, to address the audience. Dushan bhai, over to you.
Thank you, Tej. Thank you, Tej and Chaitali. Both of you have done tremendous hard work to organize this. And friends, members, thank you for attending this in such a large numbers. On behalf of BCBA, warm welcome to each one of you out here, those who are attending and taking keen interest in these important subjects. We have with us today one of the most eminent speakers, Mr. Ramakrishnan and Mr. Madan, who have got tons of knowledge and experience, who understand the nitty-gritty of these laws and processes which are concerned as far as Bureau of Indian Standards applicability, Legal Metrology Act and regulations, equipment type approval for plastic waste products, for wireless products and plastic waste products, electronic waste products, SIMs, CHIMS, and so on. Friends, BCBA team, I would like to compliment them out here. The team of my office bearers out here, Mr. Sanjeev Harale, Mr. Paresh Thakkar, Mr. Hiren Ruparel, Vinayak Aparaj, Dr. Nirav Thakkar, Mr. Ganpat Kode, and Ketan, along with our training team and all our managing committee members, the import and export committee chairmen. They have been collating feedback from our members, doing their research, study with various experts in the industry, and trying to understand that what is it that is pinching our custom brokers at the time of clearance. These are the new regulation besides BIS and LMPC. The rest of the regulations which have been brought in are relatively new. There is understanding of the law has its own contrary opinions which are expressed at the time of clearance by customs. And it is our endeavor that when custom broker goes across for clearance on fee, he should be equipped and armed with knowledge of laws and processes. So that is where we start with here. The team has done adequate hard work, and the team of experts who are here, Mr. Ramakrishnan and Mr. Madan, would answer them first, give the briefing about the law as it stands and how they are being interpreted. And for any issues, thereafter we'll be having a Q&A session. And after Q&A session, if required, whatever representations are to be made to the authorities, we will seek help of the experts and do that. So that's all from BCBA. I would request Senior VP, Mr. Sanjeev Harale, who has conceptualized this. Thank you, Sanjeev. Just take this forward.
Yeah, thank you, Dushyant. Good afternoon, my friends. It's a delight to see you all today. As individuals working in this industry, it is most crucial to stay updated with the regulations on allied acts and norms to ensure that we work in tandem with the authorities. Today's webinar aims to create an awareness of the various compliances involved in the allied acts that need to be taken care of before we file the documents on behalf of our clients. Our speakers would be enriching us on various topics being covered today, that is standardization, marking, quality certification covered by BIS, import of wireless devices covered under ETA, regulations for the control of measurements and measuring instruments covered under the legal metrology, environment protection aimed at decreasing environmental impact from a product and its packaging through EPR, and providing advance information to the DGFT through their monitoring systems for steel, coal, chip import, paper, etc. Looking at today's participation, it only shows the importance of these topics which we encounter on a day-to-day basis. The session will be led by Mr. Ramakrishnan, who is our lead presenter today with his team of experts on the topics. And we are extremely excited to welcome Mr. Ravindra Madan, Mr. Mahinder Dutt, and Mr. Ankit Sharma. I welcome our dear speakers and thank them for taking the time to join us today. I look forward to an educative and information session helmed by the experts. I now request any of our office bearers to share their thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah, Paresh Bhai, Hiren, Kanpatji, Ketan, anybody want to supplement, please supplement, and we can take it ahead thereafter.
Yes, President, thank you very much. I think each CB, everybody facing the such type of the problem every day, and so everybody is eager to speak, understand what is the issue related to BIS and other topics are taken by this speaker. And I think speaker are so well-known, dedicated speakers are there, and we're eagerly waiting to hear them. Thank you, President, and welcome to the speakers. Thank you very much.
I think Mr. Thakkar and Mr. Ruparel. Yeah.
Thank you, President. The presence of participants itself shows how important the webinar is. We are almost touching 450. So this itself is a certificate that how important the topic and the subjects are. And not to take much of a time, I believe you and Sanjeev have already covered the importance why this webinar is being conducted. I would only request all my participants who have joined that end of the day, it's the knowledge and understanding of a particular thing will always help us in serving our clients and getting more and more businesses. So I request each and everyone who have participated in this program to keep themselves updated, because the changes which are happening nowadays are pretty fast. So the situation is not the same which was 10 years down the line, and it's going to keep on changing on day-to-day basis. So it's my urge and request to all the participants that whatever seminars and webinars BCBA conducts, please attend those webinars. They are absolutely of importance. Keeping in mind the changing time and scenario of the business, BCBA conducts this knowledge series webinar. So please do not miss any of the webinars that BCBA is conducting. Thank you. That's all from my side, President.
Well said, Paresh bhai. Hiren bhai, anything from your side?
Let's start with the webinar. Knowledge is must right now. It's a need of an hour. So let's start with this. It's very important webinar, and we have been doing this. BCBA is very much known for this, sharing the knowledge. So we welcome all the members and the speakers. Thank you very much. Let's start with the webinar. I hope everyone has said something.
The subject is such that every hour, all of us have been answering members, guiding them on this, on the objection that they are facing. Yeah. Come on. Anybody else? So we can start thereafter.
Please start the webinar. I believe.
Let's start.
Yeah, let us start.
So Chaitali, may I request you to please introduce the speakers and open the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Tej. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome. It is great to see all of you here, and we are in for some knowledgeable, to learn something and get our queries resolved. Our esteemed list of panelists are as follows. Mr. J. Ramakrishnan, law graduate with over 20 years expertise in customs, foreign trade, worked in LG Electronics India for over 16 years as head exim customs, dealt on legal matters related to foreign trade policy, customs law, certification, registration activities, has core expertise in all matters of import-export, product sourcing, WPC permissions like ETA, import license, e-waste, extended producer responsibility, TC certification, BEE certifications, legal metrology rules, BIS matters relating to DGFT licensing and approvals, foreign trade policy, customs law, government schemes under Make in India government, incentives for electronic IT segments, import sourcing, logistics areas. We welcome you to this webinar, sir. Next panelist is Mr. Ravindra, engineering graduate from Delhi, having more than 30 years experience, mainly in product certification, foreign manufacturer certification registration activity, was actively involved in making policy for registration activity since inception, in redrafting and fine-tuning foreign manufacturers certification policy, having close association with MeetY, and actively participates in international and national seminars on standardization and certification. We welcome you too, sir. And my apologies, I forgot to mention, I missed out on mentioning that Mr. J. Ramakrishnan is the ex-DGM, LG Electronics India. Our third panelist is Mr. Mahendra Dutt, ex-director BIS, electrical engineering graduate, having over 30 years experience in BIS department, mainly in central laboratory, product certification, hallmarking, laboratory recognition scheme, and other key departments of BIS. He is also a technical assessor for NABL and conductor numbers of audits for lab seeking NABL accreditation. He is also a certified trainer for LQMS training. Our final panelist is Mr. Ankit Sharma, technical head on EPR and waste management. Mr. Sharma is an engineering graduate BE with an academic background in electronics engineering and more than 10 years of work experience in the IT and electronics industry. He founded the company with the goal of collective growth at its core. Product testing and registration is one of the areas he personally looks after while ensuring the punctual functioning of the company's undertakings. He looks after 25 plus certification in the field of regulatory compliances. We welcome you too, sir. And over to you, Mr. Ramakrishnan.
Thank you, Chetali. First and foremost, I would like to thank Dushan Bhai, Mr. Ketan, Mr. Neerav, Mr. Parekh and Mr. Tucker and other office bearers of Braham Mumbai Custom Brokers Association. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. So along with me today, Ravinder Madan sir is also there. Sir, you are able to hear us? Can you say hello to everyone?
Yeah, good afternoon. Hello to everyone. I think I am audible.
Yeah, good afternoon,
Yes, sir.
audible, sir.
Yes, it's audible.
Just beside me is Mr. Mahendra Dutt. He is also going to say you hello. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
So I also request Mr. Ankit if you can say hello to everyone. I think there is some issue in Ankit. I think they.
Sir, we'll address it, sir. Don't worry.
Yeah, fine. So can we start with the presentation now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You're
we can hear you, sir.
Is the presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
It's visible.
Okay. So what we are going to conduct today is an awareness program on the regulatory compliances, precisely covering the areas of regulation which are applicable on import of goods into India. So primarily we will cover BIS, ISI marking, WPC, extended producers responsibility, that is EPR, under which we will cover plastic waste, electronic waste and battery waste, etc. And some of the DGFT registrations that are applicable for import of products into India. Kindly hold on, I am unable to move my presentation.
Okay, sir.
Sir, request you to just stop the
Yes.
share and restart the share. I think that should solve your problem.
Okay, fine. I am doing it right now. I hope the presentation is visible now.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have already introduced the speakers. Mr. Ravinder Madan is ex-director of BIS, and Mr. Mahendra Dutt, he is also ex-director of BIS, and Ankit Sharma is the person who handles the technical and regulatory aspect, EPR and other waste management. Moving forward, so what today we are going to cover these subjects. One is BIS registration of product. Second, BIS certification of product, which is also known as ISI marking. The third subject is going to be legal metrology registration. Then equipment type approval, that is needed for any equipment which works on bandwidth, radio frequency, etc. Then on extended producers responsibility, EPR, we will cover three subjects. One is plastic waste, second is electronic waste, and third is battery waste. Then we'll take up the DGFT registration that are applicable, currently applicable on multiple products. One is steel, second is paper, then non-ferrous metals, then chip imports. So what we have did, after every section, every subject, I have also added certain FAQs, frequently asked questions, so that the broad questions that are required by the members are covered. So if anyone have any additional questions, we will take up at the end of the presentation. I hope it is okay with everyone.
Yes, sir.
So coming broadly about, in BIS, there are two aspects. The first aspect is BIS registration of product. Second is BIS certification of product. These two are different. So right now we are going to cover what is BIS registration of products. Before going into the BIS registration, I also wanted to explain what are the key functions of BIS. BIS, as you know, is Bureau of Indian Standard. It is a national standard body and it formulates and implements standards. Like in every country, there are standards. If you today want to sell your product to US or Europe, you have to meet the standard that is applicable in that particular country. Then only you are able to export products from India. Similarly, India is also having standard, and BIS is the major body which formulates the standards. It is also the body which represents India in ISO, international forums. There are more than 23,000 standards formulated by the BIS. Implementation body for various quality control orders. If you see, like whether quality control orders or registration orders under BIS, generally any notification which is notified by BIS. Why? Because BIS is a standard implementation agency. So what they will do, they will check your product, they will test your product, they will give you a certificate whether your product is meeting criteria or not. They are not the authorized agency to issue any notification for notifying any new products. Okay, so the main scheme, if you go to the right hand side, the main scheme under BIS are product registration, product certification, hallmarking, management system certification, laboratory recognition schemes, and training for management systems. These are the broad schemes. So what is CRS scheme? I will cover in the subsequent slide, wherein I have a flow chart. It will be easy for all members to understand. So who can apply for BIS? Any third-party manufacturers as notified in the CRS order located in India or outside in India. This CRS compulsory registration scheme primarily applicable for electronic, telecommunication, IT and similar products, wherein the broad process is that you do a pre-registration with BIS, you get the sample and get the sample tested from BIS accredited test lab. Then once the test lab gives a report and it meets the standards, then you are given a registration number. Okay. Any third party or manufacturer, this is given only to the manufacturer, not to importer, not to trader, but it is given to a manufacturer either based in India or it can be in any foreign country. I hope it is clear. Each brand manufacturer will be required to give a separate registration number. It is manufactured at the same location. Okay. Validity of CRS. Standard mark CRS to be marked for the product. Packing after BIS is granted. CRS registration is valid for 2 years and can be renewed if there is no change in the product standard, product or the standard. What they are trying to say, initially we will test your product. We will give you a CRS. We will give you a certificate, and this certificate will be valid for 2 years. As long as the certificate is valued, you are free to import. You are free to sell. Nobody is going to stop you. After 2 years, if you can go in for renewal of the license and get a validated registration certificate from BIS. So how the process start? What is the process of smart registration? What we do, we have to do a pre-registration of the entity with business license. As I said before, BIS give the license or the registration certificate only to the manufacturer. So they see whether they have a business license or a factory license under which a government authorized them to manufacture their product. So that is primary requirement. Along with certain other documents, what we do, we go into the BIS website and do a pre-registration. Then after doing the pre-registration, that step number 2 is that in the BIS portal itself, you have to select the test lab. Suppose somebody is importing a mobile phone. So you did a mobile registration for that foreign manufacturer. After that, the BIS website itself will show 3 or 4 approved test labs, test laboratories. So you have to select one from that laboratory and the sample will be sent. Step 3, the sample will be sent to the test lab and they will do the testing of the product. Once the testing of the product is done and the test report, the test lab will directly upload in the BIS portal. Okay. Post that, we submit the application with other supporting documents and BIS will process the case and grant the registration if everything is in order. Everything is in order means the test report should specifically, the product should meet the Indian standards. It should meet all the standards that are specified by the BIS. Then the registration is granted. Initial certificate is valid for 2 years and has to be renewed after every 2 years. The timeline for registration generally takes 2 months. For inclusion, it may take around 4 weeks time. So this is about the broad prospect, the process of smart registration. Now I have tabulated this in a flowchart also for easy understanding of the members. Like you see, the pre-registration on BIS portal with business license. Then the second step is that lab selection from the BIS portal and submit the sample. Where to submit the sample? Sample has to be submitted directly to the test lab. The third step, preparation of application document and product testing. Thereafter, application submission, including the test report and the application fees payment. You have to, BIS is also charging 65,540 as a fees for registration. That also need to be paid online to the BIS. Then what BIS is going to do, they will scrutinize the application, they will scrutinize the test report, they will also check whether the product is meeting all the Indian standard specification or not. Okay, then once this is done, then the grant of license or registration is being done. So there is a small step of MIT approval. I am skipping that. This is for the time being. So if you see the footnote below, BIS license is granted only to the manufacturer. There are a couple of queries that are coming, whether importer can get, whether a trader can get. Suppose an Indian guy, you have a client and you are importing from China, but the China guy is a trader. He is not a manufacturer. In such event, BIS will not give registration certificate to the China supplier, being a trader. So what you have to do, you have to actually identify who is the manufacturer. Then only the license can be granted to you. I hope it is clear to all. Now coming to the next subject, what are the products covered? Okay, so a wide range of electronic, IT, telecommunication products are covered. I have charted here the not all the products, but majority of them, like amplifiers, automatic data processing machine. If you see, I have also specified the specific Indian standard under each product. Okay, and then date of implementation. That means when this CRS order came into play and since when this was mandatory for this product. If you see plasma, LCD, LED television on 9 number, the Indian standard is IS 616. This was effective from 3rd July. So likewise, set-top boxes, scanners, visual display, wireless keyboard, cash registers, point of sale terminal, smart card readers, mobile phone, self-blast LED lamps, power adapters, luminaries, UPS, CCTV camera, thin film resistors, storage battery, LED modules for general lighting, and these are some of the products that are covered. If you see, there are 77 products broadly, and apart from that, there are certain solar products are also covered under the mandatory CRS. Okay, so what we are talking here is not BIS certification or ISI marking. What we are talking is only BIS CRS. CRS means compulsory registration scheme. Okay. So coming to the, so you have seen all the products that are coming here. Now coming to the last point where what are the essential documents. I will not go into the detail what all the documents required, just to give an insight what documents the manufacturer has to give. Okay. First and foremost, that manufacturer has to give a business license of the manufacturer. Then he has to also give the raw material list. The critical components, raw material list means the critical component used in the manufacturing of the product. Suppose the China manufacturer is manufacturing mobile phone, so at least he has to give the essential components, critical component used for manufacturing the mobile phone. Then there has to be, third number is an application form that need to be filled up by the manufacturer, then a nomination form, then an affidavit. When a foreign manufacturer, when you are doing a BIS registration for a foreign manufacturer, then there is a requirement that you also need to nominate an authorized Indian representative. Suppose you have a client, he is importing mobile phone from China and China is the manufacturer. So when we are applying for the application for China manufacturer, then the importer can become the authorized Indian representative. That is known as AAR. Okay, there is an agreement also signed between the manufacturer and the Indian importer. This is because when BIS is giving the certification, they want some Indian entity or an Indian person is liable for all the compliance of the act. That is why this authorized Indian representative concept has come into play. Okay, Then proof of AAR. When you are nominating somebody, then the proof of AAR need to be given. Address proof, brand declaration letter, brand trademark documents, authorization letter by CEO, undertaking, test report. These are some of the documents that are needed for processing the application under the CRS scheme. CRS means compulsory registration scheme of BIS. I hope it is clear. So I have listed few questions here, which I will go through. It is a FAQ, so it is easy understanding for everyone. The question is, compulsory registration order will be effective based on manufacturing date or import date? This is a very valid question. It says date of manufacturing for domestically produced goods and date of landing of consignment in India for goods manufactured overseas. Okay, so suppose you have imported something and the CRS scheme is notified. So goods are coming after the notification date, then technically customs will not allow you the clearance of those goods. That is what it says. For domestic goods, it is produced production date, and then for imported goods, it is date of landing of consignments. Now this next question, what should be the status of goods already in stock and in the market? This is not much relevant, still I will explain. The product manufactured import before due date of coming into effect of order are not intended to carry the self-declaration. So if after the effect of implementation date, before you can store the goods, sell the goods. But after the effect of this notification has come into effect, then you can sell, import or store only the registered goods. Registered goods means the goods which are registered under the BIS, and you also have a R number, registration number. I also wanted to explain, suppose if we apply for a product and then the product is tested, BIS grant you a registration certificate, and that registration certificate has got an R number. So when you're importing, the logo of CRS plus that R number and license number has to be there on the product. The third question is, what will happen to goods ordered and expected to come on after the due date on account of deferment of shipment or in transit? The goods landing at the Indian port on or after the due date must comply with the requirement of this order. It blankly says, after the implementation date, you are bound to comply, nothing else. No relaxation, nothing has been given after the effective date of implementation. Madan sir, you want to add something on this, sir, questions?
But the best part of the CRS scheme is it is self-declaration of conformity. There is no audit involved from the BIS side, and there is no human interface. We have to apply online. Application has to be pre-registration to be done online. All document to be submitted online. There is no human interface. It is just declaration of the product by the manufacturer. This is called self-declaration of conformity. Therefore, this scheme is totally separate from the certification scheme.
Okay. So the next question is, who is eligible to get unique registration number, the manufacturer or importer? I have already explained, the manufacturer only is eligible to get and can only apply and get the registration number. The next question is, how many years CRS? CRS means this compulsory registration scheme. The registration certificate is valid. The certificate is valid for 2 years. Now, what products are covered? I have chalked down into different categories. Like IT and electronic product, there are 63 numbers of product that are falling under CRS. Solar devices, modules and components, there are 5 numbers falling under the CRS. Low voltage switch gears, 8 numbers. Chemicals, there are 3 numbers. So these are the broad category of the products that are covered under the CRS scheme. What is the validity of test report? As per BIS rule, the test report shall not be older than 90 days as on date or on date of the submission of application online. Self-declaration mark will be on the product or packing. The standard mark shall be placed on the packaging if it is not feasible to place the same on the product. What it says, if the product is very, very small, it is not feasible to do the mark there, then you can do on the packaging. If the manufacturer is manufacturing under multiple brands, is registration required for each brand? This is a very valued question, which you may also counter from your clients. Different brands are required to register separately. However, it is feasible to do so based on a common test report if the product and manufacturing locations are same. So broadly, every brand, separate application and separate registration has to be done. That is what the mandate of the law is. Next question, if the product is certified at one manufacturing location, is it necessary that registration for the same product manufactured at the other location is done again? The unique registration number provided by BIS for unique manufacturing location. This means it is for one location, one product. So if you have two factory manufacturing same product, you have to apply separately and get a separate registration number. What is penalty provision if the manufacturer is not registered with the BIS and continue selling the products in Indian market? This is very, very valid question, and you also need to apprise all your client with regard to penal provisions under the BIS law. The manufacturer is liable for prosecution under clause 3(2), deformation of the products beyond use and seizure of the products. There should be penalty, there can be prosecution, there could be seizure of goods also. So the law BIS Act has provision for all sort of penalty which are there in other similar laws. How will the goods imported for demonstration and R&D or testing purpose be treated? So there has been a couple of clarification from Ministry of IT, DIT on this subject. The said order shall not be applicable on goods if imported for demonstration, development or testing in India. So there has been a circular by CBIC also and also by the ministry. In fact, all these electronic products are notified by Department of Electronics and IT. So they have also notified any products imported for R&D, testing, research does not require a BIS registration. But there are certain compliance as per the customs circular that you have to give the company CEO or director has to give a declaration stating that this is for R&D testing purpose and this will be destroyed after the designated purpose. That sort of declaration has to be given. And I would also suggest when any of your importer is importing such goods for R&D testing purpose, you should tell them that the foreign manufacturer's invoice should clearly specify this is for R&D or testing purpose. Secondly, while you are filing the bill of entry, kindly reproduce this comment in the bill of entry also. Then also get a certificate from the director that this is for R&D testing purpose, and that certificate should be uploaded in eSanchi so that the custom officer who is doing the appraisal know that this is for research and development purpose, and when he go to eSanchi he can see the declaration also. So this is my suggestion. Now, the Department of Electronics have also exempted certain highly specialized equipment from coverage of this order. So what are those equipments? Highly specialized equipment, in short, it is called HSE, as per the criteria given below are exempted. And equipment powered by three-phase power supply. So any equipment which is powered by three-phase power supply are exempted from compulsory registration order. Second is equipment powered by single phase power supply with current rating exceeding 16 ampere. This category is also under HSE category and no need for CRS. Third is equipment dimension exceeding 1.5 meters, 0.8 meter. Fourth category is equipment with weight exceeding 80 kg. So any equipment above 80 kg, you have the exemption under highly specialized equipment. So I would like to, but there is a condition that the annual imports should be less than 100 units per model per year. So the next question is, what kind of batteries are covered under this order? The scope of this order, the registration of the product have also different kind of batteries under Indian standard IS 16406. This deemed to cover rechargeable batteries, single cell, lithium-ion batteries, nickel cadmium, nickel metal hydride cells, and all these categories of batteries are covered. But primary objective of the regulation is that only rechargeable batteries come under the purview of 16406, not primary batteries. Batteries, there could be two batteries. One is primary battery and secondary battery. So these are rechargeable batteries, which are called secondary batteries also. Now my last question, this is the last page I suppose, with regard to CRS. So what should CHA advise to client? What action to be done to clear consignment without query? So my advice is that first and foremost, get the product evaluated, whether it needs CRS, whether the product is falling under compulsory registration scheme or not. This need to be done prior to import of consignment, not when the goods are lying here, you should import. So you have to tell all your clients that as and when you are planning some import, when you are placing the purchase order, you have to check whether your product is falling under compulsory registration scheme or not. So this is first step. If CRS is needed, obtain the same before import of goods. You have to tell them before importing the goods, you have to get the CRS number. Then that CRS number and the logo has to be there on the product as well as on the packaging, without which custom will not clear the consignment. Okay, I have also specified here what is the approximate lead time. The lead time for CRS registration is approximately 45 days. Okay, and it plus there is a product testing also involved. So it requires a 20 days testing also. So it's broadly an activity for 60-65 days, just to give an idea. Once the CRS is obtained, should mention the CRS number on the invoice. You have to tell the client that you have obtained the CRS number. So when you are exporting the goods to India, on your foreign invoice, you have to mention the CRS number, BIS registration number, so and so, so and so. Importers should also share the CRS certificate with the CHA. This means they should also share you the registration certificate that is granted to them by the BIS department. Next is CHA to mention the CRS number on the description column while filing bill of entry. You can mention anywhere, but this is just my suggestion. If there is sufficient space in the description column, against each item you can mention the BIS registration number, and CHA to upload the BIS certificate in eSanchi. So what will happen with this? When the custom appraisement does, he knows that whether the product falls under BIS or not. So when the BIS registration number is written on that and eSanchit, the certificate is uploaded, there will not be no query or objection from the customs. Okay, so with this we have entered the first part. Now I request Mahinder sir and Ravindra Madan sir to add few things on the subject, sir, on CRS.
Sir, I want to add one thing.
Yeah.
The battery under CRS is only for portable equipments. The battery which are used in portable equipments, these are under mandatory scheme, CRS mandatory scheme. Yeah.
Yeah, so technically the notification says secondary batteries used for handheld applications.
Yeah. Yes.
But so there is a challenge today. The challenge is that when somebody is importing battery for any item, if it is like, for example, a medical, somebody is importing medical equipment. When that medical equipment has an inbuilt battery, there is no challenge because they choose the HSN code for medical equipment and customs know it's a medical equipment, it is allowed. When they are importing these batteries separately, when it is being imported separately, they file under HSN. I think it is 8504, and there would be a requirement for BIS. But there is a query from the customs department for BIS, sir. So how that can be addressed, sir? Some light on that.
If it is covered under IS 16046, then definitely manufacturer has to take BIS registration. Then only they will allow them to import in India. But this is portable battery, whether it is used for the mobile phone or you use for the any medical equipment. And use nobody knows. It rules are very clear. If it is a portable battery, rechargeable battery, and falls under 16046 part 1 or part 2, manufacturer has to obtain BIS registration.
Okay. So the manufacturer based in India or based in any country has to get a CRS certificate before import. Yeah. So can we move to the part 2 then? So we have covered part 1.
So any question on CRS? I think they can.
Yes, sir. We'll take the questions once we complete all the topics, sir.
Yeah. Fine. We'll take the questions there. So I'll move on to part 2 then. I just wanted to ask you, I'm not going too fast now. So I think I'm audible and everybody is able to follow me. Just wanted a reconfirmation.
Yes, sir, it's perfectly fine.
Fine now. Okay. Now we will move to the next scheme, that is BIS certification. This is also known as ISI mark. So the core difference, as Ravindra Madan sir has already said, BIS registration, there is no factory audit or manufacturer audit is involved. Whereas in BIS certification, this scheme, there is a manufacturer audit scheme, means manufacturer audit program is involved. Okay. So what is BIS certification? BIS certification enables the certificate holder to offer third-party guarantee of quality, safety, and reliability of product. That is broad objective. While the certification has been voluntarily, it was made mandatory by Indian government for a number of items. As of today, there would be around more than 500 items which are under mandatory certification. A licensee holding BIS certification is allowed to use ISI mark on their goods, which signifies that the product meet the Indian standards. So if a particular product is tested by BIS, it is certified by BIS, they have given you an ISI license, you put that ISI mark and license number on the product, it stands as an evidence for quality, safety, and reliability of the product. Now coming to the second part, who can apply? Any manufacturer in India. Here also again, it is only given to the manufacturer. So any manufacturer in India or any manufacturer in foreign country can apply for these standards. Manufacturer to apply for a separate BIS license for product being manufactured at different locations. Like same product, if they have two factories, then separate license has to be obtained for both the factories. Third point, manufacturer have to apply for a separate BIS license for each product under one Indian standard being manufactured at same location. Suppose a manufacturer is having one factory wherein he is manufacturing laptop and mobile. So just giving an example, so they have to apply twice and get a separate registration. For like example, for certification, there is air conditioners are under mandatory certification. So if a manufacturer is manufacturing window air conditioner, split air conditioner, then there are different Indian standards for both the product. So what they have to do, they have to submit separate application for window air conditioner, separate application for split air conditioner, and get a license. Okay, the last point, initially BIS license is valid for 1 year. Thereafter, it has to be renewed. Moving on to next slide. So this is giving broad, with this it will be easy to understand. That is why I've plotted this on a flowchart diagram. So first and the foremost is that self-test of the product from any BIS enabled accredited test lab. So if you're going for BIS certification, you can do this process. Why this process self-test is done? Because the Indian standard, which is a technical document, this generally is a 40 or 50 page technical document, which says each and every criteria and standards. So what you have to first do is that test your product from any lab and make sure that you are meeting the Indian standard criteria. So that is why this is the first step. Second is pre-registration on BIS website with business license. Here again, why business license? Because BIS, whether it is CRS or certification, it is given only to the manufacturer. So business license or factory license is an essential document which BIS want. So third step, receipt of test report and application submission, then scrutiny of application by BIS, then BIS fees payment, then the auditor will be nominated by BIS. After the fees payment and charges, BIS will nominate an auditor. They will do a factory audit, draw sample for testing. They will do a factory audit for 1 or 2 days. They will also see the test capabilities of the manufacturer. Then they draw the sample, and this sample will be sent to BIS accredited test lab. Okay, after that, they will test and submit the test report. Once the test report are okay, last process, grant of license will happen. If the product is meeting all the standards that are specified by the BIS, if so, the license is granted. If what happened, test report of BIS portal and scrutiny by BIS. If in case the sample doesn't pass, if sample fail, then even if the license is granted, that is stopped. If the sample pass, the license is come forward. So for Indian manufacturer, BIS have a simplified scheme wherein they say, okay, you first test the product and then submit all the applications. So we will come and audit your premises. We will draw the sample and we will send it to the test lab also. But since the product testing is going to take 20 or 25 days time, so under simplified scheme, we will grant you license. So after grant of license, we will get test report after maybe 50 or 20 days. If sample pass, okay, then you can continue with the license. If your sample fail, then your license is stopped, suspended. I hope it is clear. Generally, the lead time for this process is 30 days. Okay, factory audit are subject to COVID stipulation. Testing time may vary from product to product. Lead time does not include any stay document manufacturer sent. This is a general guideline. This is the broad process of certification. The core difference you might have noticed that the first scheme CRS does not involve a factory audit, but it involves a product testing. Second, BIS certification. This involves a factory audit. Then from the factory audit itself, the samples are drawn and this sample will be directly sent to the BIS recognized test lab. So this is the core difference between the CRS scheme and the certification scheme. Ravindra Madan sir, Mahinder sir, want to add something here, sir?
Since CHAs are involved, so maybe they are more keen for the importers, which is coming from the foreign manufacturer. So this scheme, what Ramasar explained, is simplified scheme. It is applicable only for the domestic manufacturers. For foreign manufacturers, there is no simplified scheme. They have to submit application, all documents in duplicate from the manufacturer to BIS in their head office located in Delhi. BIS will do the scrutiny of the application. They will record the application and then they will demand the applicable charges, travel fee, visa, insurance, and then they will, once the payment is done, then they will depute the officer for visiting that particular plant. Provided there is no quarantine rule enforced in that country. Right now, there is no visit happening to China. All the applications from China are stuck up because quarantine rule is not relaxed in China. BIS wants zero quarantine policy. Not a single day quarantine is acceptable. All other countries, they have started. Last was Japan, which started last month only because Japan also relaxed the quarantine condition. During the plant audit, they will assess the manufacturing setup, test setup at the manufacturer end. They will verify the competency of the person who is doing the testing, whether he can test as per Indian standard. They will, then once they are satisfied that plant is having inbuilt process controls and they are able to make product complying with the standard, then only they will draw the sample for independent testing. That sample to be shipped to India in BIS recognized lab. Once the sample passes in BIS lab, then only license is granted to the foreign manufacturers. This is the scheme and normally it takes 3 to 4 months for getting the license to the foreign manufacturer.
And this is offline scheme.
And this is totally offline scheme. Nothing is applied online. License you can see online, and this initially this license is granted for 1 year, and later on we can get the license renewed for minimum 1 year to maximum 5 years. And there are certain products for domestic manufacture also which are under normal scheme like packaged drinking water, gas cylinders, regulators, where government has issued different notification according to safety rules. They want that those product to be, BIS has to conduct the audit sometime jointly with the other authorities, like for gas cylinders or regulators. Chief Controller of Explosives, CCOE and BIS jointly, they assess the plant, and based on the assessment, after verification, sample testing, then only license is granted. Similarly, for packaged drinking water, cement, they have kept under normal scheme only. It is no simplified scheme is applicable for these products.
So we will move forward. So just to give a glimpse, what are the documents required for BIS certification? I'll not go into detail. just to give an overview. Like an application form has to be prepared, whether it is an Indian manufacturer or a foreign manufacturer, they have to give all KYC document, who are their management, testing persons, and etc. etc. Then registration of business license having the top management, authority letter, route map to reach factory, because if it's a foreign place, then the Indian auditor should get all the details where the factory is located. Plant layout indicating the location of various machinery, testing lab, test facilities, etc. List of manufacturing machinery. See, this is not required for all. Suppose the foreign manufacturer is going for air conditioner certification. So what government want to know for air conditioner manufacturing, what all the machineries you have. He is manufacturing some other products, so that machineries are not under the concern of BIS. 7 is manufacturing process flow, then test equipment and instruments, then calibration certificate, QC persons list, qualification and appointment. They wanted to know whether they have a technical person or quality control person who actually controls the quality or not. Raw material supplier list, test certificate, in-house factory reports, sample offer letter, acceptance of marking fee, drawing, request for grant of license with BIS guidelines. So these are the basic essential documents that are required from any Indian manufacturer or foreign manufacturer. Okay, I hope it is clear. Like Madan sir said, for foreign manufacturers, the BIS auditor will travel down to that country where it is being manufactured. He will see the manufacturing capability. He will see the testing capability. He will draw the sample there, and then that sample will be sent to India and it will be tested in BIS accredited lab. And once the test report meet all the criteria, then only the license is granted to the foreign manufacturer. Number one. Number two, the Indian importer, your clients, Indian importer who is importing it can become the authorized Indian importer. Okay. So we will move on to the FAQ section. So I have specified few questions here. For which product the BIS mark is compulsory? BIS certification ISA mark is applicable on wide range of products. There are approximately 379 products in the list which are mandated for compulsory BIS certification. So there are, as of today, there are 379 products which require mandatory certification. There would be some other products also, but those are not mandatory. If it is not mandatory, then you can very well import, sell, distribute, store, etc. No restriction from the government. What restriction is there? Only for those products which are mandatory. So next question, what are the essentials needed by a manufacturer to obtain BIS license? For obtaining a BIS license, the manufacturer must have requisite manufacturing infrastructure, appropriate process control, quality control, testing capabilities for the product as per relevant Indian standard. The product shall also conform to all requirements laid down in the Indian standard. Okay. How BIS grant a license, we already explained. So it is being done on a factory audit basis. And once the auditor feels that the manufacturer has sufficient manufacturing facility, testing capability, quality control person, and the product meets all the criteria specified under the Indian standard, then the BIS grant the license. So how long the BIS license is valid? Under the scheme 1, conformity assessment, the license for use of standard mark shall be granted initially for not less than 1 year and up to 2 years. The license may be renewed for further period not less than 1 year or up to 5 years. Actually, in BIS license, there is a marking fee. Every year you need to pay a certain fee. So if you pay it for 1 year, you get renewal for 1 year. You pay it for 5 years, the marking fee, you can get the renewal for 5 years. Whether BIS license is needed for product manufactured in India for export. Generally, this is a very valid question, and couple of companies have approached me, Madan sir and everybody, whether the BIS license is needed for products manufactured in India for export. So generally, the products meant for export are exempted from the ambit of quality control order. However, before you decide, it is advisable to confirm from the respective QCO. This question as well as answer is as specified in the BIS website. You know, generally the quality control orders issued by any ministry, like for steel, it is a steel ministry who is issuing it, or certain other products, it is DPIIT, Ministry of Commerce, issuing it. Generally, all the quality control orders have a language that nothing of this order shall apply to any goods which are meant for exports. So the interpretation of this language is that if you are importing certain things and you are manufacturing a product out of this and the final product is exported, so then the BIS raised license is not required for this product. Now, some of you might be facing a challenge. You are importing certain part and the final product is being exported. But how custom know whether you are going to, after the custom clearance, there is no customs control. So how do they know whether after clearance, whether whether it is actually being used in the export product? Number one. Number two, whether that product is being exported or not. So what is the solution? The solution is only one thing according to me. Better you advise your client that they should get an advanced license for that particular part, particular part or particular product. So that will serve two purposes. Purpose number one, that it will exempt you the BIS license. Advanced license is an assurance that the product is going to be exported out of India. Second, the benefit is that under advanced license, your basic custom duties stand exempted. So if any of your client has a challenge, advise them to go for advanced license and not only solve this problem, but they will also save on customs duty. Custom duty is upfront exempted. Is BS license granted to the importer? Again, the same question we have already discussed multiple times, whether it is BIS compulsory registration scheme or license scheme, it is only granted to the manufacturer and not to the importer. Okay, Madan sir, can you just add few lines, sir?
See, both the schemes, whether CRS or BIS certification scheme, these are under the ambit of BIS Act. Any quality control order issued by Government of India is taking under the BIS Act only. They are mentioning that the goods they are making under compulsory certification or compulsory registration as per BIS Act. And the panel provision are same whether product is covered under mandatory registration scheme or under compulsory certification scheme. If somebody is manufacturing a product which product is mandated under compulsory certification scheme, then not only the manufacturer, even importer or distributor or stockist, they are liable for the punishment under BIS Act. Mendra sir will add further to this.
As Madan sir has said, and even Rama sir has told you, in case of CRS also there is a penalty provision. In case of certification also there is a penalty provision. So nobody can put ISA mark without valid certificate. So this is to be kept in mind. Yeah.
Minimum 2 lakhs and
Yes. So there is a provision of imprisonment also, 1 year imprisonment and 2 lakh minimum, that is the penalty. It can be more also, depending on the production and product seized by the BIS. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on. What should you? This is an important question as far as you are concerned. What should you advise to your clients as part of this thing? Okay, first and foremost, your client should be advised that they get the product evaluated whether it is falling under ISA marking, BIS license or not. This has to be done prior to import of consignment. Second is, if needed, ask client to obtain the same. If the BIS license is needed or it is under mandatory certification, then you have to ask your client to obtain the same before import. Okay, so generally the lead time I have mentioned, it is 90 days plus 20 days for any foreign audit. This is manufacturer audit program. So BIS auditor will visit the factory. We have already explained. Once obtained, should mention the IS license number on the foreign invoice. Once they have obtained the license, they should mention this on the export invoice from those country to India. Importer to also share the license certificate with the CHA. Whatever is the license that is issued by BIS department, there is a certificate. That certificate also you should get from the importer. CHA to mention the IS number on the description column while filing bill of entry, and CHA can also upload the license in eSanchi. If so, there will be minimum query or objection from customs. I hope it is clear to all. So we are done with part 2 now. So broadly, it would be clear to all of you what is CRS, what are the broad products covered, and broadly how is the layout and certification also. Sanjay ji, can we move to the next section?
Yes, please, we can.
Yeah. So we will cover the legal metrology registration. Ankit, are you there? You are able to say hello to everyone?
Hello, yes, sir. Good afternoon to all, sir. Yes.
So you are there?
Yes.
Good. You are able to hear us properly?
Yes. Sir, we are audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah.
So I will start with the licensing requirement. In case any query or questions, Ankit and his team will also be, they are also in the presentation. So licensing requirement under the Act and Package Commodity Rules. There are multiple registrations which are required under the legal metrology. There are legal metrology package commodity rules, legal metrology act. There are registration for import license and so many on. So I have broadly specified the 4 sections under which there are compliance needed when you are importing it, manufacturing it, storing it, or selling it. Okay. So the first section is section 19 of the Act. Section 19 of the Act says every person who import any weight and measures need to mandatorily register with the Director of Legal Metrology as an importer of weight and measures. Okay. So the rule 19 says any person who import any weight and measures equipments, any testing, measuring equipments need to register with the Legal Metrology Department under the weight and measures. Now, the law did not specify even the package commodity rule or legal metrology act or supporting rule did not specify anywhere what all products are covered, what all products are not covered. So my understanding is that this registration under section 19 of the Act is only required for selector products. Now, how do you know your product is falling under that or not? For that, maybe you have to write to us or share the detail with us. We will evaluate and come back to you whether your product is falling under that registration and whether you need to get registration under section 19 of the Act or not. So section 19 of the Act, it is for import, it is for registration, it is for selected products. I hope it is clear. Now we move to section 22, model approval. Okay. So section 10.2, what it says, every person before manufacturing or importing any weight and measures shall seek the approval of model of such weight and measures from the central government, power being delegated to Director of Legal Metrology. So this also again says anyone manufacturing in India or importing. In fact, this also cover anybody storing also. You know, you have a warehouse, you are a distributor, then also it is covered. Means you can only sell those products which are model approved. So technically, importing, manufacturing, storing, selling specified weight and measures product, you need to get a registration under section 22 of the regulations. And this again, this is not for all the products. These are also for certain category and selector products. So anybody have any query, you can message me. I'll share my WhatsApp number and mail ID also. We will evaluate and tell you whether this is under section 22, section 19 registration or not. But I also want to bring to your knowledge, there is a lot of ambiguity with regard to legal metrology, not only in Mumbai Customs, across all regions, because Customs blankly asking legal metrology registration for all products, whereas the mandate of the law or the rule says selected products. Now the ambiguity is that what all those selected products, the ministry should have published it for the better understanding of trade and industry, which I believe I could not see, which I believe has not been done. So that is the cause of such queries, objections, and other things. And these things, I think, should be represented to Ministry of Consumer Affairs so that these can be addressed and appropriate circular can be issued for the benefit of trade and industry. This is just my suggestion. Now coming to section 23, the third thing. Section 23, license for manufacturer, repair, sale of weight and measures. No person shall manufacture, repair, or sell or offer or export or possess for repair or sale any weight and measure unless he hold a license issued under the control of legal metrology. So if you're doing some sale or repair or certain other activity, then again you need a registration from legal metrology under section 23 of the regulations. Okay. So coming to the last rule, this is a new rule. I think this has been notified 2 months back, and this is effective. This was effective from 1st October 2022. Rule 27, what it says? Let us have a look. Rule 27 of Package Commodity Rules 2011. Every individual, firm, Hindu undivided family, society, company, corporation, or which prepacks or import any commodity for sale, distribution, delivery, shall make an application accompanied by a fee of rupees 5,000 to the director of the controller of the registration person as an importer or manufacturer package packer of prepackaged commodity. This means anybody, whether it is an individual, firm, Hindu undivided family, company, private limited company, anybody who imports any prepackaged commodity has to get a registration under the category of importer, Rule 27. So this is relatively, we did it for a couple of companies. This is relatively a simple this thing, wherein you have to give all the company details, product being manufactured, product being imported, and based on that, you are given a certificate under Rule 27 stating that you are registered as your importer. So with that, custom will not stop your consignment. So this is a Rule 27 is a thing which is multiple queries are being raised across India because this is a new compliance. I hope it is clear to all. Section 19, Section 22, Section 23, and Section 27. Section 19 and 22 applicable only for selected products. Okay. And Section 23, it is for manufacture, repair, and sell of certain category of products. Section 27, it is applicable for across any prepackaged commodity that you import or that you manufacture. You have to get as a registration under importer. So Rule 27 is registration of importer under the Package Commodity Rule 2011. So when your client get a certificate, it will be under Rule 27 of Package Commodity Rule 2011. I hope it is clear. I am moving on to next slide. Now, very important question: who all are exempted, or what are the exemption under the law? Which category of importer, manufacturers, and others are exempted from the Legal Metrology Act and Legal Metrology Package Commodity Rules? So what the rule says: one, the institutional customer. So let us see what is the definition of institutional customer as per the law. So institutional customer means the customer who buys packaged commodity directly from the manufacturer for or an importer or from a wholesale dealer for use by that industry. And packages shall have the declaration not for retail sale, like hotels and hospitals. Suppose if you have certain clients who are hotels, hospitals, airport authorities, etc., who can be termed as an institutional customer, you are importing for them. So what you have to do, under this law, they fall under institutional customer. So you can get legal metrology exemption under the institutional customer, number one. But these should have a declaration stating that these are not for retail sale. So any commodity that is pre-packaged commodity imported in India, there is I will come to that labeling. What are the labeling requirements? But under that, you also have to specify that not for retail sale. If not, custom will not allow you clearance. So you have to tell your clients that if you are an institutional customer, okay, good, you will get an exemption from legal metrology, but each and every product packet should have a label stating that not for retail sale. This is very, very important, without which custom will not allow you clearance. And not only that, it is a non-compliance. Okay. So we move to part B, industrial consumer. Let us see the definition. What the law says, what is industrial customer? Means the consumer who buys packaged commodity directly from the manufacturer or from an importer or from a wholesale dealer for use by that industry. And packages shall have the declaration not for retail sale. Example, any manufacturing company importing the item as part of their own consumption. Like suppose example, Fiat or Samsung, they as part of their manufacturing, they would be importing multiple products, which they are going to use in their final product. So they fall under the industrial consumer who are engaged in the activity of manufacturing, who are engaged in the activity of production are called industrial consumers. So they are exempted under this law. Okay. Here again, what you have to tell your client? Okay, you are a manufacturing facility, manufacturing entity, and you are importing the parts which you are going to use in the manufacturing process or for the final product that you are going to manufacture. Then you have exemption, but we need a declaration on each and every package stating not for retail sale. I hope it is clear what is institutional customer, what is industrial consumer. Now I will go to the C, D, and E category. C says drug, fast food item, packaged commodities sold in packages up to 10 gram or 10 milligram. And D says any food item packaged by restaurants and hotels, etc. E says packages containing 25 liter or 25 kg, package containing not more than 25 liter or 25 kg, excluding cement fertilizers up to 50 kg. So these are broadly the 5 categories which are exempted under the Legal Metrology Act and the rules, where you get an exemption. So I move on to the next slide. Labeling requirement. Apart from that registration, whatever I have said, there is also a labeling requirement. That means every prepackaged commodity imported into India should have a labeling. Now, what all should be there in that labeling? I am going to explain. Number 1, name and address of the importer, packer, or manufacturer. Suppose you have a client here. He is importing from a trader. Okay, so he is importing maybe a mobile equipment or mobile accessory from a trader and want to sell in India. So what if the law says you have to disclose the manufacturer? Then if he starts selling for 2 months, there would be 15-20 competitors standing before him because his label itself says manufacturer name and address, isn't it? So you have that option. Name and address of the importer or packer or manufacturer can be specified. Number 2, the common generic name of the commodity. What is the commodity name? Net quantity in terms of standard unit of weight and measures. Suppose you import a mobile phone, it has got a charger, it has got an adapter, it has got certain USB cable, that all need to be mentioned. What is the overall item that are there? One number of charger, one number of cable, one number of mobile, likewise you have to mention. I hope it is clear. Then month and year of packaging or importing. So if your client is importing, then he can very well mention the month and year of importing, not packing. Maximum retail price, inclusive of all taxes. Generally, and as per law also, the maximum retail price means the price maximum at which it can be sold in the market, because consumers should not be charged anything more than the MRP. It is against a violation of not only this law, some other laws also. Okay, so maximum retail price, whenever anybody working out, it should include all the costs, logistic expenses, taxes, customs duty, even GST or any VAT or any octroi, everything should be inclusive of that. MRP should be inclusive of everything. Contact number and email of the manufacturer, packer, or importer. Here, if your client is importer, he can give his contact number, not to disclose the manufacturer's detail. Declaration may be printed on a label securely affixed to package or package itself. Okay. Now it says how the packaging has to be done. It says if you are putting a sticker, it should be in such a way that when you are trying to remove, it should be toned off. It should not come out together. Or second option is that you can engrave on the product, or emboss on the product, or print on the product. All should be in such a way that it is secure. It cannot be toned off, or it cannot be modified, or it cannot be misused. So that is the objective of the regulation, that if some MRP, otherwise what happens? Importer can import and affix an MRP of 100 rupees, and he can remove that and put an MRP of 200 rupees. That is why this law says this has to be very securely affixed. MRP labeling, entire labeling has to be secure. Declaration shall be printed in Hindi or English. You have that option. It can be printed in English or Hindi. And it also says before import of goods, technically this labeling has to be done at the manufacturer's end. Suppose if your client is importing from Korea or XYZ country, so when it is before shipping the goods from their factory premises, this labeling should be done, so that when the goods land in India, in compliance to the law, you have all the marking on the product. I have also explained that if the product is very, very small, then the law also permit that you can put the labeling on the packaging. Otherwise, it has to be there on the product also. In the event prepackaged commodity is not for sale, then there again has to be not for retail sale. That we have already explained. If it is not for sale, it is very, very mandatory that it should have a declaration. It should have a sticker that not for retail sale. I hope it is clear to all. We are moving to next FAQ section. Is LMPC registration of importer under Rule 27 mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory to get registration for all prepackaged commodity. Essential custom compliance, without which goods cannot be cleared from customs. Okay, so prepackaged commodity, it is required. How much time it will take for registration? Generally, it takes 3 weeks time to get the legal metrology registration. Is MRP labeling essential for all goods? Yes, MRP labeling is essential for imported goods which fall under the regulation of packaged commodity intended for retail sale. So any packaged commodity you are importing, it is not for own consumption, it is for retail sale, then MRP labeling has to be there, and this is a mandatory compliance. Industrial consumer, we have already discussed. Institutional customer, we have already discussed. Is there any license? The second last question, is there a license to manufacture, import, sell weight and measures? Yes, license to the manufacturer, dealer, repairer of weight and measures for dealing in weighing, measuring instrument. This is given for such model, given approval by legal metrology. This is also known as model registration. So in legal metrology, as explained earlier, there is a model registration involved. There is a company registration involved when you are dealing or selling in weighing and measuring instruments. When I say weighing and measuring instruments, technically all weighing and measuring instruments are not covered. These are selected. So you need to actually check whether it is under weighing under the mandatory law or not. It is mandated for registration or not. So in case anybody has any question, they can give the product detail to us. We will check and we will come back to you whether this is falling, whether they have to get model registration or not. And prepackaged commodity, the entire regulation is applicable on prepackaged commodity. So what the rule says, what is prepackaged commodity? Let us have a look. Any commodity which is placed in a package without the purchaser being present. Any commodity which is placed in a package without purchaser being present, of whatever nature, any goods, whether sealed or not, whether it is sealed or unsealed, so that the product contained therein has a determined quantity, is a pre-packaged commodity. So anything which is packed form, sealed form or not, then that comes under the preview, that comes under the rule of packaged commodity rules. I hope it is clear to all. Now it's an important point, what you should do, what you should advise to clients or importers. If they are importing any prepackaged commodity, first they have to get an import registration under Rule 27. Rule 27. You know, this is a primary registration for importers, and this does not take much time, not much document, and relatively a quick process, wherein they can apply one time and they get an import registration. So this will solve the problem at the custom end, preliminary Rule 27 registration. So this is an essential thing which had to be done when they are importing a pre-packaged commodity. Pre-packaged commodity examples I will give you: a mobile phone is a pre-packaged commodity, air conditioner is a pre-packaged commodity. If a refrigerator which is coming in a package, this thing, that is also a pre-packaged commodity. So anything that is packaged has certain contents, it is a pre-packaged commodity. I hope it is clear. Second is that if the pre-packaged commodity is imported for sale, then make sure the correct MRP declaration is there on all packages and the label is done at supplier end. This is an important thing you have to advise your client. If your product is falling under pre-packaged commodity, then the MRP declaration is mandatory, without which custom will not allow you clearance. So labeling has to be there. Labeling has to be there on all the product. Suppose they are importing 100 air conditioner, then for 100 air conditioner, the labeling should be there. If prepackaged commodity is imported for own use, not for sale, then all such package should bear a label, not for retail sale. Suppose your client is an industrial consumer or an institutional customer, or they are exempted. So then they can very well import. If they are exempted, they are very well can import. Then it should be a label that not for retail sale. This is a mandatory thing. So custom, if they do an examination, if MRP is not there, they will look for another label, not for retail sale. If both are not there, then there could be an issue at customs. Fourth point, if they are importing weight and measure equipment, then they should apply to regional legal metrology office for model registration and obtain model registration for all models they are dealing in. So I already explained this model registration is applicable for selective products only. So first they have to check whether it is under model registration. If the model registration, it is mandated for mandatory model registration, then they have to do the same. There is no way other than getting the model registration approved from legal metrology department. So these are some of the things that you can advise your client as a pre-check, before import. All this activity has to be done before they're placing the purchase order or when they are deciding to import the commodity, not when it is imported and lying at customs station. That is not a area where you can solve the problem. So these have to be complied. They have to take some advice from some technical consultant or legal consultant with regard to what all the package commodity, whether it is falling under the rule or not. If it is falling, what are the regulations they have to apply, what registration they have to get. They have to seek some help from consultant or do it themselves. Whether it is falling under that regulation, then they have to do the required compliance. This is very, very important. So we have covered part 3. Ankit, you want to add something to legal metrology, please?
Sir, you have already explained all the points. We can get the question answer session.
Okay.
Yes, we can elaborate there only.
Okay, fine. So I move on to next slide. So I'll have some water. So I think, Sanjeevji, I think I'll take it little fast because it's already.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll go a little fast. Then we'll address the question answer section. Is that fine now?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, fine. So the next subject is wireless permit controls. So what it says, equipment type approval. There are two things in wireless permits. One is ETA, that means equipment type approval. Then second is import license. So what government did, certain low frequency item or indoor use item, they have put it under the free bandwidth. Means government do not want to control those items which are under, suppose you are importing a mobile phone or XYZ. These all items are low frequency items, low bandwidth items. These are put under free bandwidth. Second is regulated bandwidth. So for free bandwidth, all you need to get is that you have to apply to Department of Telecommunication and get a one-time approval that is known as equipment type approval. So once you get this approval, then you can import any number of quantity for that particular item, and there is no other compliance needed. Only equipment type approval is needed. Okay. So any equipment imported into India which works on notified free bandwidth connected to Indian network requires one-time approval from Department of Telecommunication. So the documents needed like literature, RF test report, radio frequency test report, high latency accreditation, agreement between manufacturer and your Indian importer. These are some of the documents required for equipment type approval. Now come to import license. So import license, any equipment imported in India which works on a restricted bandwidth connected to Indian telecom network require an import license over and above equipment type approval. So suppose I will give you an example like a satellite phone. If your client or you want to import a satellite phone, those satellite phone works under a bandwidth which is restricted by DOT. So what you have to do, suppose your client has got some order from government, 10 pieces. So they have to first get an ETA. After that, this government order has to be produced to Department of Telecommunication, stating that, see, I have got 10 orders for satellite phone. Now give me the import license. then only government gives this license. Like these equipments are sensitive items which could be used by various other this thing, unauthorized activities. So that is why these bandwidths are put under restricted band. So this is giving a broad picture of what is the low frequency items, wherein only ETA is required. I have written the frequency also, like 50 to 200 kilohertz, mega 402 to 400 megahertz. All these low frequency items require only ETA. Apart from this, any item require import license. Import license is quite tough and it is difficult to get. It can be obtained only against a specific purchase order that your importer has. Otherwise, government will not give a license for any item which works on regulated or restricted bandwidth. What is free bandwidth and regulated bandwidth? Free bandwidth are not regulated by government. These are generally for low frequency item, and regulated bandwidth is regulated by the government. This requires an import authorization, as I said. Documents required for ETA, I have already explained how much time it will take to get ETA. It approximately takes 30 days to get a equipment type approval. What you should advise to your client prior to import: get technical literature, catalog of the product, get it evaluated from a consultant whether the product need ETA or not. This has to be done before import of the item. If product need ETA, then apply to WPC department. Import only after the required permissions are obtained. How to comply the regulation and avoid repeated custom query? ETA license number should be mentioned in the foreign invoice raised by the supplier. Importer should share the certificate with CHA to mention the ETA number in the bill of entry. You can write the ETA number in the bill of entry description column and also upload the certificate in eSanchit. With that, custom appraisement officer would be very clear that they already have an ETA and ETA number is also there, and he can go to eSanchit and see the ETA certificate. Even if he is not convinced, he can go to DOT and check the ETA, put the ETA number and see the certificate. With that, your customs query, repeated query from customs can be avoided and excluded. So with that, we end the part 4 act also.
Sir, just hold on.
Yeah.
Sir, Pooja will add on for some points for WPC and
Please.
LMPC.
Yeah. LMPC we can cover later when the question answer section is there.
WPC just 2 minutes, he will just explain.
Sir, for WPC, for WPC now the process has become online and the the certificate is released within 1 week. The timeline has been decreased, and we need 2-3 documents for the same, like RF test report, which you have already mentioned in that, and we will get the certificate within a week of timeline.
Yeah. See, now it is on self-declaration basis. So government very nicely said it is self-declaration, but if an importer wants that they self-declare and get the license, it is technically not possible, because you have to give all the details, you have to give the RF test report, you have to pay 10,000 rupees fees, then you get an ETA.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Also tell how old should be the RF report? Should not be 5 years older. What is the validity of the RF report?
Sir, the validity of the RF test report needs to be like the lab should be accredited. The accreditation of the lab should not be expired. Let's say the report has been issued 2 years back and the accreditation of the lab has been expired as of now. The test report will not be valid. The accreditation of the lab should be valid till the present date. Then it can be accepted, else it will not be accepted by
There is no limitation of that report. Like BIS, we have 3 months of time of the validity report. Yeah. So for the WPC, for RF report, there is no such a validity.
Only the lab accreditation should be valid.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I hope it is clear. Now we will quickly move on to the waste management part also. Then we will have a question answer section wherein we can address all the questions raised by the members. So this is related to plastic waste. So government has taken a couple of actions. So first action, see, these plastic or electronic waste, these have been notified in other countries long back, The US and Europe, these were effective since long, more than 8 to 10 years. So India has been a late entrant, but they have notified all the aspects, and it is in the initial phase, it is still in the phase of settling down. So what government has did, action number 1, Ministry of Environment and Forestry is the nodal agency, notified plastic waste management rule in 2021 on August 12, 2021. the manufacture, import, stocking, distribution, sale, use of single-use plastic is prohibited with effect from 1st July 2022. So action number 1 is that single-use plastic, they are completely prohibited with effect from 1st July 2022. Okay, we'll on the subsequent slide, we will cover what is single-use plastic. Now we will go to action number 2. In order to stop littering less weight item, plastic carry bags, what they did, any plastic carry bags below 120 microns are not allowed. Okay, so above 120 micron, they said, okay, you can import, but you get an EPR. So this is another thing which is done for plastic carry bags. The thickness of the plastic bag is fixed by the government so that it can be reused. Objective is that it can be reused. Okay. Action number 3. Now what the action number 3 that is done by the government, the following plastic packaging put under mandatory EPR means producer, importer or brand owner, anybody who is catering to this has to get an EPR. So what are under these 4 categories? Category 1 number is rigid packaging like jars, can, bottle, food containers, etc. Category number 2 is flexible plastic packaging of single layer or multi-layer. Category number 3 is multi-layered plastic packaging. Category number 4 is plastic sheets or like used in packaging. So these are 3 actions that are taken by the government. Okay. So government has, if you see on the left hand side, the collection target. So what in the EPR now, they have to give last 2 years how much quantity they have consumed, imported or produced. Based on the target is fixed. Suppose you have consumed plastic waste last 2 years average is 100 ton, then what you have to do, approximately 70% of the material 2023 you have to collect from the market. Subsequently 23-24 onwards it is 100%. There is some revision which is specified in the subsequent slides. So single-use plastic ban from 1st July 2022. Now the vital question, what all comes under the single-use plastic? So I have given the examples here. Earbuds with plastic sticks of balloons, plastic bags, candy sticks, ice cream sticks, polystyrene for decoration, plate, cup, glasses, etc. Wrapping or packing films around sweet boxes, invitation cards, PVC banners less than 100 microns or stirrers. So these are some of the single-use plastic which are prohibited by the government. So these are we have already explained above 120 microns. Below 120 microns are not allowed to be imported. Above you can do it or you can produce it also, but you need to have an EPR. So category number 1, rigid plastic packaging like jar, can, bottle, food containers. I have given the photograph here so that it is visibly easy to understand for all the members. So these are the products which are under rigid or plastic packaging like jars, cans, etc. And these are flexible packaging of single layer or multi-layer. There could be certain item you have an aluminum layer inside and you have a plastic layer outside. So those are called multi-layers. Category number 2. I hope it is clear. Category number 3 is multi-layered plastic packaging. At least 1 layer of plastic and 1 layer of other material, that is also covered. Category number 3. Category number 4 is plastic sheet or used for packaging as well as carry bags made of compostable plastics. These are also under mandatory EPR. So there have been questions whether if you are importing certain components, machines, or plastic packaging is covered. So what sort of plastic packaging sheets are being used? Based on that, we can evaluate and come back to you whether it is technically as of today falling under the preview of the law or not. But under this law also, since being a new law, there are certain ambiguity, certain clarifications are still required from the department. So we have to go with that. So who has to get the registration? Producer, importer, brand owner, plastic waste processor. These categories of people have to get the registration. Pooja, can you quickly explain these categories quickly, please?
Yes, sir. The first category is the producer. The producer basically comes who are in the production of the plastic packaging. The products, companies which are into the production of any sort of plastic packaging, whether it is rigid plastic packaging, flexible or multi-layer packaging, these companies fall under producer and they need a plastic EPR from the Central Pollution Control Board. Second comes the importer. Like any of the company who imports their product with a plastic packaging, whether it's a sort of rigid plastic containers or the flexible or any sort of plastic packaging in their products, then they will be falling under the category of importer.
So Pooja, I have a question here.
Yes,
tomorrow
sir,
I am
sir.
importing certain component, it has got a plastic packaging. I cover under the category of importer. Secondly, tomorrow I am importing a plastic packaging as it is, for packing my product, then also I come under the this thing of importer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You will be coming under the category of importer. You can also come under the category of brand owner in case your company is not micro and small as per MSME.
Okay.
So the third category which I'm going to explain is the brand owner. Let's say any company, whether it is importing any product in plastic packaging and then or selling out or locally purchasing it and selling out in Indian market only with a plastic packaging, it will be covered under as a brand owner. Only the exemption is like if the company is micro and small as per MSME certificate, the guidelines, so they will not be falling under the brand owner category. They are exempted. They can like sell out their product without any sort of certification. However, if the product is being imported with the plastic packaging, they need to get a certificate as an importer. There is no such exemption for importer in micro or small.
Because this is the main doubt which all the importers have, because they are asking for the exemption as an importer, but importer cannot be exempted. Importer has to take the EPR certificate.
Okay, so tomorrow I am a producer in India. I do plastic packaging and my turnover MSME, my turnover is below 50 crores. I am coming under the small category. So I am exempted.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Until
tomorrow I am an importer. I am importing packaging material. Okay. And my turnover is only 10 crore, but still I fall under the category of importer.
Yes, 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 sir.
Because importers are not granted exemption under the law.
Only brand owners are
Only
exempted.
brand owners are exempted.
Yeah.
And in case any company has a turnover of more than 50 crores importing the products, then they will require two certificates, one as an importer, one as a brand owner.
Yeah. Okay.
But the responsibility will be taken care by the brand owner only.
Yes.
Yeah.
So broadly about the EPR target 2021-22, it is 25% of the waste that is generated by the company. 22-23, it is going to be 70% of the waste generated by the company. 23-24, it is going to be onwards, it is going to be 100% of the waste generated by the company. These are target of EPR. So we have entered here the waste management section with regard to plastic waste. Now it is electronic waste. I will not go much into detail. Electronic waste management rule was first actually notified in 2016, enacted in 2017. Initially, it was 21 products, primarily electronic products. On November 2nd, 2022, MOEF notified new regulation of e-waste management rule 2022, effective from 1st April 2023 only. Means next year, 1st April. So what are the additions made? Consumer electrical equipments added, large and small electrical equipment added, electrical tools added, medical equipments added. All these were put under electronic waste. From 1st April 2023, before this period, all the importers should get this EPR under electronic waste if they are importing any consumer goods, any electrical goods, electrical tools, medical equipments, etc., etc. Product increased from 21 to 110 numbers. So the product category is also substantially increased. EPR waste collection target has been changed. Every producer, EPR, manufacturer, recycler, refurbisher, reseller have to apply for EPR authorization. Now, as per new e-waste management guidelines 2022. Now, anybody who is applying has to apply under the new rule, not the earlier e-waste management rule of 2016. Instead, e-waste management rule of 2022 has to be applied. Some guidelines about the EPR target can be met by engaging PRO. Who is PRO? Producers Responsibility Organization and recyclers. Suppose your client is falling under the category and they got an EPR. After getting the EPR, they have to meet the category target, whatever they have to recycle as per e-waste norms. So they can nominate a recycler, they can nominate a producer responsible organization who will do the entire compliance on their behalf. They will do the recycling, they will get the green certificate from the recyclers, they will upload the certificate in the CPCB website so that next year when it comes, your renewal compliance is fulfilled and you get a smooth renewal. Okay. Penalty for non-compliance, here again, prosecution and heavy compensation is applicable under this law also. So collection target, this is waste collection target. This has been revised. 23, 24 and 24, 25, it is 60%. And subsequently 2 years, 70%. 27, 28, 28, 29 onwards, it is 80% of the quantity placed in the market. So the target have also been revised in the new regulation. So this is giving broad detail about the categories which are covered: information technology, consumer electronics, large and small electrical electronic equipments, electrical tools, toy, leisure, sports equipment, medical devices, laboratory instruments. So these are the categories which are covered. Okay. So I will move on to battery waste, not taking much time. August 24, 2022, the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change of India published and enforced the Battery Waste Management Rule 2022. Will apply to all type of batteries in the schedule. Broadly, they have covered all batteries under this regulation. There is no exemption as such, which is notified or by the government. Regardless of their shape, all batteries, regardless of their shape, volume, weight, material composition or use. It will also apply to all appliances into which a battery is or may be incorporated. Effective date 24/8/2022. This is already effective. So now what is you get an EPR, then after EPR, the actual work starts. You have to collect from the market and meet the target. Now what is your collection target? First 2 years of implementation, 30% of quantity waste generated. During third and fourth year, 40% of the quantity of waste generation. Fifth and sixth year, 50% of the quantity of waste generation. Seventh year onwards, 70% of the quantity of waste generation. So whatever you have imported or waste generated in last 2 years, average of that, then 70% you have to collect from the market. You have to recycle as per the CPCB, Pollution Control Board norms. Then you have to get a green certificate from the recycler. You have to upload this green certificate in the CPCB website. Then only your compliance is fulfilled. I hope it is clear. How to apply for EPR? Application EPR is online for plastic waste and electronic waste, battery waste and other things. It is on manual mode. After application, how many days it will take? It may take around 15 to 3 weeks time. EPR to obtain by the state or center. If you are conducting business in more than 2 states, then the regulation says you can apply to central. Suppose if company is doing more business operation in 3 or 4 states, then they can apply to Central Pollution Control Board rather than State Pollution Control Board and get an EPR. So this is the difference. Obtaining EPR, what the brand owner, importer or producer has to do, after EPR, they have to nominate a PRO, like I said, who will collect the material on their behalf from the market and meet the waste collection target. Then get the waste recycled as per Pollution Control Board norms and report submitted to the department. So the brand owner, importer, producer after getting the EPR also, every year they have to meet the target, whatever is specified by the CPCB. So we end the part 7 here. So I will quickly go to the DGFT registration. There is not much detail on this. So all of you are aware that DGFT wanted to control, DGFT wanted to understand what are the quantum of products that are being imported into India from different countries. Suppose there is a large steel manufacturing base in India. There are a lot of manufacturers who are manufacturing steel. Still, a lot of steel are being imported from different countries. So government wanted to understand what are the categories that are being imported. So in order to have a better control, they have formulated this registration system under paper, SIMS and other things. That is the broad objective. Now coming to SIMS, which is Steel Import Monitoring System, shall require importer to submit advance information in an online system for import of item and obtain an automatic registration number. This is effective from 1st November 2019. because without this SIMS registration number, custom will not allow you clearance. This is very, very important. Fee payable for registration is rupees 1 per 1,000. Maximum is 1 lakh rupees for steel import. Importer can apply for registration not earlier than 60 days before the expected arrival of the import consignment until the day of filing the manifest. Under SIMS, the relaxation is given that until the shipping manifest is filed, you can get the SIMS registration. Okay. The automatic registration number thus granted shall remain valid for 75 days. Importer shall have to enter registration number and expiry date of registration in the bill of entry, enable custom for clearance of consignment. So that registration number also has to be mentioned in the bill of entry. So this is about SIMS. Rest of the registrations are almost similar. There is not much difference. Even the same DGFT portal you have to go, you have to register there. I will skip this, how the process of registration I will skip. Do I need a license for each shipment? Yes, a license is required for each customs entry. You may include multiple products and one license as well. What is the application fee? It is minimum 1 rupees per 1,000, maximum 1 lakh rupees. What products are covered? There are 250 steel items are covered, 8-digit HSN code. That registration is available in the drop-down DGFT site. And what all the chapters covered? It covers chapter 72, it covers chapter 73, it covers chapter 86 also. So SIMS registration is technically required for 250 8-digit HSN code items from these chapters. Coming to paper import monitoring system, this is notified by the government on 25th May 2022, relatively a new law. This is effective from 1st October 2022 and 48 chapter is being covered. 201 entries are covered under paper management system. 48 chapter, 201 entries. The good part is that under paper management system, the fees is only INR 500 rupees. You have to pay only 500 rupees as an application fee. Apply not less than 75 days, not later than 5 days from arrival of consignment. This is what the rule says. Now, the second part is non-ferrous metal import monitoring system. This will cover all copper, aluminium and other things. Notified on 31st March 2022, effective from 12th April 2022. This covers 46 HSNs. Under chapter 74 chapter 46 HSN are covered, 76 chapter 43 HSNs are covered under the names. So these are the category which are covered. So chapter covered is 74, chapter covered is 76. From 74 there are 46 HSNs are covered. From 76 there are 43 HSNs are covered. Fees payable under this also is only INR 500 rupees. Apply not later than 60 days and not later than 5 days from arrival of consignment. This is what the non-ferrous import regulation also says. The last one is chip manufacturing. Chip import manufacturing monitoring system notified on 10th May 2022. And this was also effective from 21. Covers specific HSN code 8543-3100, 8542-3900, 8523, 8542-3200, 8542-9000, and 8542-3300. Fees payable under this is only INR 500. Apply. When can you apply? Apply not earlier than 60 days till the date of IGF, valid for 75 days. So this is about the broad registration under the chips also. So we have covered steel import monitoring system, paper import monitoring system, non-ferrous import monitoring system, and chip import monitoring system. Chips are basically ICs or integrated circuit, what you call in technical terms. I hope it is clear to all. Only SIMS chips can be applied until the date of filing import general manifest. Rest all before 5 days before import arrival of consignment. So this is one thing which you have to intimate all your clients that you need to do the registration with the DGFT well before time. In order to, if you are doing, if as a custom broker you are doing the registration, then they should provide you with all the requisite documents, invoice, airway bill, BL and other things. So these are some of the things. Oh, with this, we have ended the presentation. I think it is 5 o'clock now, and we can start with the question answer section. And anybody have any question, they can come to us. And if you can ask now. If the questions need a elaboration, deliberation, or we and need more time to explain, then I would request that that can be put on the mail and we will evaluate and we will come back to you. Now we can have the question answer section. Madan sir, Mahendra sir, hope you're there.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, very much very informative session, part by part. And yes, there have been multiple questions. A lot of them probably, and many have been, answered by Mr. Ankit somewhere, live, and some have been answered by you, when the questions were raised, but have been already addressed.
Yeah.
We have compiled a few, questions, and I shall be, mentioning those questions here, and same is what our team, Mr. Tej and Ms. Chaitali.
Okay.
So some of the questions I will take up first, beginning with sir, relating to BIS.
One moment.
So,
I just
yes, sir.
one moment. Madan sir, Mahendra sir, hope you are there in line now.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, sir, fine. Ankit, you are there?
Yes, sir. We are
Okay,
there.
fine. We can have the question answer section. Fine. Continue, please.
Okay. Do we want to close this screen sharing now?
Yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sir, with regards to BIS, there have been some questions where, specific to custom bonding. So let's say, for example, when goods have, been in a custom bonded warehouse and, the BIS applicability is there for these goods. What happens when the importer can the importer ex-bond it? When the BIS is not there, is one of the questions commonly asked. And also, there is a question.
We can address the question one by one. Is that okay?
Yes. Okay. Yes, definitely.
So first question is that when the goods are at custom bonded warehouse and it does not have a
actually this question was the second one was also connected to it.
Okay.
So one was with regards to ex-bonding, and the similar way, if we want to re-export the same, then what happens in the BIS applicability? So you can address these questions, sir.
See, technically, broadly, before import of goods, if the BIS registration is there, the labeling has to be there on the product. Okay. But technically, if you have imported the goods, you file a bill of entry for warehousing. The goods are kept in a custom bonded warehouse, wherein you can very well do the labeling. You have to take a permission from the concerned deputy commissioner or the jurisdictional custom office, and then you can do the labeling there. After labeling is done, you can either file a bill of entry for home consumption and clear the goods, or the rest of the activity, whatever you want to do. So this is an activity which can be done at the custom bonded warehouse, provided you have an approval from the concerned custom officer. This is my answer to first question.
So I mean, same applicability even if you want to
related to this question, sir, may at the time of importation, the mark should be the embossed. It is to be applicable in that case. Please, sir.
See, the rule says the BIS labeling should be there. It can be through stickers, non-removable stickers. Non-removable means when you are trying to take out the sticker, it should tone off. It should not come out together. It can be engraved. It can be embossed. So the rule has all provisions, and it can be printed also. So what generally people does, nobody emboss it. Generally very few laptop people or somebody does it. Otherwise, it
should not be removable.
Suppose if you are affixing sticker, when you are trying to remove, it should not come off. It should tone off. It should be pasted in such a way. I have an example. I'll tell you an example in Tughlakabad, wherein somebody imported a battery. Okay, the battery, the registration number was printed on it, and when the custom officer put some this thing and scratch on the cell, the BIS registration number gone. Then he said, "I will not allow you clearance." He was right, because the printing was done in so shabby. It was with just scratch from the hand. It was just wiping off. So that should not be there. Madan sir will add more into it.
Rama sir, one clarification.
Please, sir.
In individual standard also it is mentioned how to put the ISI mark. So that is to be complied with.
Correct.
Yeah.
It should be compliant. Very well, correct.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, what my colleague has referred to, if the goods are to be re-exported, it was a very specific query. The goods are not imported. They are not going to be consumed in India. But what about if the goods are to be exported? Am I right, Nirav? That's what the query was?
So first query was where the goods have come into India. That time there was no applicability of BIS. Now, when they were in bonded warehouse. Now there has been an applicability eventually. Then what happens in such scenario? Getting the BIS registration and all, that was question part A. And part B, yes, Paresh bhai, what you said, that the goods have come into India, but they are into bonded warehouse, which are eventually going to be re-exported. They are not going to be consumed in India. So then, does this still apply? Even if the product is there for the compliance registration, do the BIS still become applicable in case of re-export?
So,
whenever any notification is issued by Government of India, they are giving sufficient time.
Correct.
6 months or 1 year. Every importer or manufacturer is well aware of that this notification is going to be implemented from that day. They have to ensure that before importing that, if it is being made implemented, the goods shall come with the BIS standard mark. See, there was a period when there were certain items were received when the notification was in implementation stage. That time, custom allowed that, okay, you get the registration and then you do the labeling in our bonded premises. Now this is also been discontinued because enough period has been given. Now coming to the second question, when it is for the export, it is very well mentioned in each quality control order. If any good is coming for the export purpose, then this use is not applicable for export purpose. But for that, you have to take the advanced license, which was very well covered by Ramasar in his presentation.
So here, in fact, there is a notification by DGFT which is specifically conveying that goods which are imported under advance license, advance authorization will not required. Only that exemption is there.
Correct.
Otherwise, in the country, if the goods are imported without a BIS authorization, the re-export of that would be permitted by customs, subject to levy of subject to adjudication and levy of fine and penalty. There are public notices of JNCH and Air Cargo towards the same.
Sir, I will just give you an example. Dushyant bhai, what you're saying is correct. See, when you are importing the goods, custom doesn't know whether it is being consumed in export product or not. That is why where the importance of advanced license come into play. And I have even advised a client, and we found an alternative solution also for export goods. I'll tell you in short. They wanted to import certain products and batteries, and they were to manufacture mobile phone, and these mobile phone were to be exported. Okay, so technically the law says for export product, BIS is not required. So what they did, they submitted advance intimation to the jurisdictional custom office. They submitted a re-export bond and an undertaking that within 6 months they will export it back. Based on that, the discretionary power of the custom, they said, okay, you are going to use the product for export, we will allow you without BIS. So this is one of a case happened, but I would still advise you taking advanced license is a better option when you want to import goods which are going to be exported back.
Yes, sir.
In case of the goods imported in India meant for the re-export purpose, it can be said third country export. In that case, it is not required BIS.
Sir, you are going to clear the consignment for customs and then export after some time now.
Mr. Rama, let me just clarify what sir is saying. Sir is saying that it's going to come in and be put in a bonded warehouse and immediately removed from the bond directly for export. It is not going to enter a DTA at all.
Okay, so in such event, BIS should not be required, but you have to intimate to the customs in advance that this import I am going to export from the bond itself. Hence, you can also produce the copy of the respective quality control order or the ministry order, wherein it says very clearly nothing of this order shall apply to any goods which are meant for exports. So custom technically cannot stop it.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Sir, a couple of questions which have come, in general, members would like to get your advice that when situations like this arise, BIS applicability is there, and there has not been any support from the overseas supplier and the system broker who's basically not only just handling clearance, but they're also providing the assistance to the importer. In such situation, when the consignment has arrived and there is no support from supplier in terms of non-compliance of BIL, what is the best way out in such situations when the consignment has arrived and it's under customs and
See,
trade?
I will say it is the onus, it is the responsibility of the Indian importer, not custom broker, or more than the supplier.
Exactly.
It is the Indian importer's responsibility to keep track. They are based in India. They know the law. The law is notified at least 6 or 8 months before implementation date. So it is responsibility of the importer that he should talk to supplier and get the BIS registration done. Then only he import goods. If an importer import goods are lying at custom house, and then he says, I do not have BIS registration, I do not know the law, then ignorance of law is not an excuse, even in normal sense as well as in criminal sense. Ignorance of law cannot be an excuse.
Absolutely. And the list of items under BIS certification scheme, I think Mr. Ankit Sharma has already informed members that they will be sharing the appropriate link from where, because many members wanted to know the latest, updated, and the full list.
Yeah.
I think I'll have Ms. Chaitali ask questions which are there on which members have posed for LMPC or any other topic, please. Chaitali ma'am.
Thank you, Nirav. And sir, fantastic session. It's so interesting and so vast. The questions that we have received with regarding this are, just 1 second, please. With regarding LMPC, sir, one of the questions which is being asked is that is registration mandatory for all pre-packaged import products, even if the importer is actual user? What if the use of product is for self-use?
So I have already explained that under legal methodology, there are certain exemptions. One is institutional customer. Okay. Second is industrial consumer. What you are trying to say is self-use. What is self-use or captive use? They are importing that and they're going to use that in their own premises, whether it is for manufacturing or XYZ purpose. Then the registration is not required, and but there has to be a labeling for not for retail sale. That has to be there.
All right, sir. Thank you. The second question is that is the importer who is exempted for about 25 pack still required to register for Rule 27?
Yeah, Rule 27 is basically a simple registration for importer. Government want to understand who all are the category of importers who are importing and what products. Like in DGFT, you have a monitoring system now. It is a simple registration system before the legal methodology. And under Rule 27, they should once apply, and within maybe 7 to 10 days, they get the certificate, and that is very simple process. It is simple registration.
All right. All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. The next question is, if importer has LMPC certificate, but not for retail sale label is not affixed, can this be put in the CFS before customs clearance for institutional or industrial consumers?
See, technically, primarily, as Ravindra Madan sir said, all law before incorporation, sufficient time is given. Secondly, when the goods are in customs area, it is not in custom bonded area, then it is technically not considered as a territory of India. It is considered as a foreign territory. So when the goods are in custom bonded area, you can take permission from customs and you can do the labeling, subject to permission from the customs.
Okay, there is one question on PIMS. In PIMS, SIMS, NFI, MIMS, CHIMS, why can we not apply for a quarter, half yearly or annual certification?
Okay, this is very, very good question. This should be directly taken with the Ministry of Commerce, in fact,
All right, sir.
As a trade association now, you see, you represent a larger community, manufacturers, importers, and other things. And see, any representation by an individual party to Ministry of Commerce or any other government department do not have much weightage. Whereas as an association, you can always represent such issues to the secretary level at the respective ministry. And I am quite sure now with the change in things, it will be heard, it will be attended also.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Ramasa. Chaitali, I would just like to share with the previous question raised. Labeling is possible prior to permission requested in advance, prior to goods being cleared. Thank you. Go ahead, Chaitali.
Thanks. So we have a question on WPC. Aviation firms having an existing WPC license for usage of a particular product, do they require a separate license if they are importing products which are related to the restricted range, for example, UHF, VHF transceivers and all?
Yeah, they would require a separate license, yes.
Okay, sir. And somebody has asked a question that like there is relief for SIMs, is there any relief or relaxation on PIMs?
What sort of relaxation?
Sir, that is a question that, I'm sorry, I don't have that over here.
No problem, sir. Sir, what we will do is we'll come back to you with a list of questions. Just to share, I must say this session has been absolutely fantastic. We have had close to 200 questions,
oh my God.
which is really good. On a strike rate, it is on an average at least one question, every two people, if not more. With all the OBs here, MCs, we have a number of questions in our mind. Unfortunately, we will not be able to address all, but we will surely address a few. I would just like to jump into a couple of questions with you, sir. In terms, you mentioned something called a brand owner and an importer, right? Can you specify the difference between a brand owner and an importer? That is question one. I'll come to you. The next questions after.
Ankit?
Yes.
Pooja, in this. Yeah. Pooja, please.
Sir, brand owner specifically means any company selling out their product in any specific trade name. I guess every company sell out their product in any trade name. So it's not specifically any brand, like any company which is not micro and small. Okay. So they are falling under the category of brand owner.
So you are saying that micro and small companies cannot be brand owners?
As per plastic EPR applicability, it is not considered as a brand owner. They are exempted. If any company selling out their product in any trade name, obviously they will sell out their product in a trade name. In the GST certificate also, it's clearly mentioned the trade name.
Pooja, I will say the same thing in other words. See, brand owners below 50 crores are an exemption. It is a benefit given to Indian entity. They are brand owners. But what government said, all these small companies who are doing 10 crore, 15 crore turnover, if you put them under multiple laws, including this EPR and other things, then it will be difficult for them to comply. So what government said, okay, we will relax. Anybody doing less than 50 crore, they will not require EPR registration as brand owner. So that's a relaxation given.
But
okay.
All of them will be required EPR as an importer.
Importer, there is no exemption. Yes.
Proving Make in India is going to become more popular in the near future. Going to my second question, this deals with the battery rules and a little bit with the waste management rules as well. Now, you gave a calculation of what the regulations have to be with in a scale. For example, the amount of waste or the amount of goods that they sell, and then effectively the amount of waste that they put into recycling, etc. Now, how do small companies deal with compliance, right? How is the waste collection target calculated? And effectively, how do we get a green certificate? I know it's a really complicated question, but from the perspective of the logistician, it is possible that we may be asked such questions. So it's important that we know about them. Thank you, sir.
Pooja will answer that question. Before that, I just wanted to say, any company which does turnover below 50 crore, are exempted. That is why, that small companies doing 10, 15, 20 or less than 50 is exempted under legal methodology on that objective only, Small companies, it is difficult for them. That is why it is objective.
Sir, we are referring to imports. You see, a large portion of our members are importers, and a lot of it deals with electronic imports. Because India is as a consumer economy, India is growing leaps and bounds, and everyone wants to enter this country. Typically, the second largest population in the world, right? So we are going to see this increase. So even an importer doing 50 lakhs or 1 crore of sale will be covered by this. So we would just like to understand the mechanism on how to deal with it.
Yeah, Pooja, please explain.
Sir, your question was like, if any company, how to collect the collection target of particular company. So let's say for the battery, it's like you need to provide the last 2 financial year data. If the company is new, they will not provide any import sales data or any sort of certain data. So they will have 0 collection target for upcoming year. But the company which are like established more than 2 years, they might be having some import data. So based on that, they will get some collection data target. And let's say if any company is importing batteries for any XYZ company, and then that XYZ company is selling out that product in market, so they will be liable to get that collection done. The collection done.
So what I will do, I will simplify the entire thing. If a company is conducting transaction and importer they fall, तो वो क्या कर सकता है? Point number 1, last 2 साल का जितना import है उसका डिटेल निकाल के EPR अप्लाई कर देगा. Point number 1 खत्म हो गया, कस्टम में रुक नहीं रहा आपका माल, आ गया. Point number 2, उसके बाद गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारे PROs अपॉइंट किए हैं, प्रोड्यूसर्स रिस्पांसिबिलिटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन और रिसाइकलर्स, ठीक है ना? जैसे हमारे अंकित है, ही इज रजिस्टर्ड विद CPCB एज ए प्रोड्यूसर्स रिस्पांसिबल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. वो क्या करेगा? आप वो इंपोर्टर के बिहाफ में जो भी मार्केट से कंप्लायंस करना है, वो मार्केट से ऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर से खरीदेगा, अनऑर्गेनाइज सेक्टर से खरीदेगा, रिसाइकिल कराएगा, उस कंपनी के बिहाफ में सब कुछ करके उनका पूरा कंप्लायंस हैंडल करेगा. सो देयर आर गवर्नमेंट नोज अबाउट इट. छोटे कंपनी कैसे मार्केट से कलेक्ट करेगा? सो गवर्नमेंट नोज अबाउट इट. दैट इज व्हाई दे हैव नॉमिनेटेड रिसाइकलर्स एंड PROs who are going to help and do the small industry.
So a small company can connect with the PROs and effectively meet with the green requirements, correct?
It's all big companies, even like Samsung and all big companies, they cannot engage a team, for 20-30 people for doing collection and other things. So everybody.
But this is great information, sir, because a lot of our members deal with smaller clients and consignments, and I think this would really help. So thank you so much for clarifying.
Yeah, I also wanted to, I will give you an example. Suppose a company is manufacturing, मैं manufacture कर रहा हूँ LG mobile phone, okay? So मेरे को target मिला 50% market से लेना है. I cannot go across India and hunt LG mobile phone. तो क्या बोलते हैं आप लोग कोई किसी भी brand का ले लो. So there is relaxation in the regulation, although it is very primary stage, but still relaxation. आप कोई भी brand का mobile phone ले लो, आप उसको recycle करो, your compliance is closed.
Super.
So there are producers responsibility organization, recyclers who will help these entities in entire compliance.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been fantastic. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask you one really quick, small, short question.
Yes.
And then we'll hand it over to Dr. Nirav for concluding. A lot of times, imports are regular, and there could be a possibility that your EPR is expired and you have already applied for your renewal, but the renewal has not come. So you are in that interim period. And if your goods land, what is the treatment of the same? Is an application for EPR renewal sufficient for goods to be cleared, or is it that the renewal needs to come in, only then can the goods be cleared?
Technically, before once like you have obtained an EPR license for last year, you fulfill the EPR compliance, then you have submitted the requisite documents along with, before expiry, 1 month before you submit the application for renewal of EPR, and government is bound to give you before expiry. If there is a failure on the part of CPCB or other agency in giving the certificate, even after due submission on time, then custom technically cannot stop your consignment, because whatever is required from your end, you have already done. You have fulfilled the compliance, you have submitted the application giving 30 days time to the Pollution Control Board to issue renewal, still they have not done, then the importer should not be held accountable.
But the stipulated timeline is 60 days for the renewal. Okay, so in that between you have to, in that period you have to get the renewal done. Okay, on the basis of the acknowledgement, you can also clear the goods.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, Ankit ji. Now I'll give it over to Chaitali for one last question before we go to Dr. Nirav. Sir, we will remain engaged with you. So thank you so much for this, and we will compile a list of questions for you to address, which we can share with you a little bit later. Chaitali, over to you.
Thank you, Tej. Dr. Ramakrishnan, yes, with regarding the question for PIMS under the relaxation, what we've been asked is that, like, because this comes for air and the air shipments are planned 2 or 3 days in advance only, it does not get or at the last minute. Like SIMS, we have an exemption. Is it possible to get an exemption, or is there relief available for PIMS? And an additional question that a member has asked in relation to PIMS, which is the last question for the day, is that if a product is brought with extra warranty card or a package, how do they register under PIMS?
Okay, your first question with regard to relaxation for air consignment. See,
yes, sir.
Things much before, So all the challenges faced by the trade was escalated to the government on time. Now, what these paper manufacturer or paper importers have to do is that through their association, they should submit to DGFT directly to the secretary, stating that this is the challenge for air consignment, it should be exempted, and there is a precedence, and I am very sure if it is rightly approached through the association, they are bound to give you the relaxation. The government objective, larger objective is not to control small shipments that are coming by air. It is the get the data of actual import happening through sea. That is the objective. Second, what was your question? Can you come again?
Yes, sir. The second question was that if a product is coming with an extra warranty card, then how do you register that under PIMS?
See, there is a provision. If it is paper import, you can very well go and do the registration part done. But it is again going to be very cumbersome for those companies who have to actually, I can understand the pay. I think this again need a representation, Why?
All right.
This is not the broad objective. Suppose somebody is importing air conditioner and it has got a product manual, 5 pages, small manual. So government objective is not to do a registration for that and make a hassle for clearance. That is not the objective. The only issue is that this is not rightly represented to the government. If it is rightly represented to the government, I am quite sure that they will give you relaxation. Like in air, what they have given, they would give it for this also.
All right, sir. Thank you. So the answer would be that the individual associations should take it up with the government and get this clarified. Thank you very much, Mr. Ramakrishnan. It's been one of the most enlightening sessions. Over to you, Nirav.
Thanks, Chaitali. Thanks, Tej. Sir, there have been many, questions which have remained unanswered, and as my colleagues have already mentioned, we will be sharing the list with you so that can be addressed well. And we also see some of our members who raised their hands, but due to paucity of time, we are not able to take live questions. So I will now, start with my vote of thanks, and on behalf of Brihan Mumbai Custom Brokers Association, sir, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to Mr. J. Ramakrishnan, Mr. Ravinder Madan, Mr. Mahinder Dutt, Mr. Ankit Sharma, and Pooja ma'am for conducting today's educative sessions for our members. Dear all speakers, our sincere thanks for enlightening our members and making all of us aware of the regulatory compliances, and most of all, giving us the tips to ensure that we have less number of queries raised by customers, and accordingly we can guide our customers to meet such compliances. You highlighted many pertinent issues which many of our members were not aware of, but now we have all been well informed. You have been very helpful in answering the questions of our member participants, and I'm sure all are extremely satisfied and with all the appropriate responses as well as the relevant examples given by you. So the FAQs at the end of each compliance that was shared by you on screen is going to be very beneficial for us. And once again, thanking you, as we all are extremely fortunate to be present here and gain this fruitful knowledge. I wholeheartedly thank our dynamic president, Shri Dushyant Gulani ji, for his instrumental leadership and guidance in organizing the webinar today, with Senior Vice President Mr. Sanjeev Harale ji for conceptualizing and presenting us with you all eminent speakers, along with the with the training committee in charge, that is Mr. Tej, contractor, and Ms. Chaitali Mehta, and who have been working really hard to ensure that we extract maximum benefit from this session. And I must say that you all have done a wonderful job. So today our office bearers, managing committee members are also present, and the entire team have shared inputs for the pertinent topics which are taken up today. And based on various issues which our members raised, my sincere thanks for them and for their extremely important role in helping in designing the program today. Our entire secretariat also need to be thanked, and for all the back-end support that they have given as always. And last but not the least, all the participants present here today must be applauded. Your participation today has further encouraged us to initiate and organize more such programs. We have all raised pertinent points, which when addressed by all the panelists and all the members present here have benefited out of this information. We had more than 600 registrations, and we saw more than 500 participants present here live, as well as seeing the recording, live streaming on YouTube as well. And to all the members, we would be sharing this PPT and the recording, as well as the contact details of Mr. J. Ramakrishnan and his team. So in case you would like to contact sir, you can reach out to him and his team directly. So thank you once again, and have a good evening to everyone.
Thank you,
sir.
Ramakrishnan ji, entire team, Madan ji, Ankit ji, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramaji, Mr. Madanji, Ankit,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you,
Entire
everybody.
PCBA team.
Mr. Mahinder Dutt also, I missed his name. Thank you.
Yes, yes, sir.
And members who have attended.
So from our end also,
Thank
we thank everyone,
you all.
Mr. Bhai, Sanjeev ji, Ketan ji, Neerav ji, and all office bearers of Mumbai Clearance Association and the Secretariat also. We thank you from bottom of our heart, and thank you for giving us an opportunity.
Yes,
And
sir.
these are subject of interest, so I enjoy giving such lectures.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Have a good evening,
Thank you,
everybody, and
everyone.
thank you all for attending.
Thank you. Thanks.